morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. I know we have more than 80 customers on the webinar today from a variety of locations. So thrilled to have all of you on board, and let's get started. So here's the agenda I have for all of you today. I'm going to spend a few minutes introducing Astute Business Solutions. And then after that, I'm going to talk about why we are here today. We're going to talk about why customers are considering moving their PeopleSoft applications to OCI, i.e. Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. What are the specific advantages customers are going to get when they move PeopleSoft to OCI versus moving it to AWS or Azure or other cloud? Then we'll talk about some customer success stories and discuss how these customers benefited by moving to OCI, how they moved to OCI, and where you can find information about their story, their published details, video testimonials, and so on. And then I'll spend a few minutes helping the audience understand how to get started with their journey to cloud. What moves first? Is there a sequence? Are there some dependencies you should be aware of, and so on? And then we'll close with some information, useful information such as reference links, and provide some time at the end of the webinar today for question and answers. So let's get right into it. I'll spend a few minutes talking to you about Astute Business Solutions. Many of you may have been on our webinars before, but I just scanned through the registration list. Some of you are listening to us for the first time, so welcome again. Astute Business Solutions is acutely focused on helping customers transform their existing PeopleSoft applications by taking advantage of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. This applies across market segments, across industry verticals, and the whole idea behind this is to help customers get more value out of their PeopleSoft investments, get them away from the day-to-day tasks of running and managing infrastructure, and focus more on enhancing the application, using all of the features they have available, and delivering more value to their business users. Astute is based in Pleasanton, California. We were established in 2006. We've been an Oracle partner since our inception. I am co-founder and CEO, and I used to work for PeopleSoft prior to the Oracle acquisition, so PeopleSoft's in our DNA. We have offices in the Midwest, in Central America, in Dallas, Texas, in Canada, and in India. We are a Oracle Gold partner and a Cloud Standard partner. We are also a Oracle Cloud Infrastructure MSP partner, and MSP stands for Managed Service Provider, and we'll get into some details around that in today's discussion. As far as industries go, we have focused on those industries where PeopleSoft has historically had a strong presence, and some of them are financial services, healthcare, education, retail, and nonprofit. Public sector is also a really big area of focus for us. There are a lot of state and local, federal, and county customers who run PeopleSoft today, so that's another market that we address. Astute is specialized in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure and PaaS services. And what specialization means is that we have invested time and effort in certifying our resources, training them, getting customer success stories published, and getting all of these validated by Oracle on a regular basis. Finally, we have always had an inclination towards developing value-added solutions, whether it was a gap in PeopleSoft or whether it was an extension to cloud, that would increase or enhance the overall experience a customer has with PeopleSoft applications and with Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. To that effect, one of the solutions I'd like to call out today is our student chatbot solution named Guru, which is available on the OCI marketplace. And then we also have our fast test automation solution, which is purpose-built for PeopleSoft functional regression test automation. Both of these are powered by Oracle technologies, and they're also certified as Oracle integrated solutions. Let's talk about what Astute can do to help you if you're thinking about moving to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. There are three main categories of services: migrate, manage, and extend. Migration to cloud, as the name implies, is helping you either lift and shift your PeopleSoft applications. And when we say lift and shift, it means as is, without any code changes, without any upgrades, same version that you're running on-prem, to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, stabilizing it, integrating it, securing it, and going live. We've also done this for Oracle E-Business Suite. We've done this for Illusion's Banner Student Information Systems product, and we have deployed that across a number of different technologies on OCI, such as Exadata Cloud Service, Oracle Database Cloud Service, and we've even migrated some PeopleSoft customers who run PeopleSoft applications on SQL Server database. The second thing is managing a customer once they are on cloud. So most of the times, customers are looking to move to cloud and not be in the business of managing their PeopleSoft applications infrastructure, but rather focusing their teams on more business value-added activities such as enhancing workflow, enhancing UI, building more automation, and things like that. So our managed services helps customers by taking over the infrastructure, platform, and PeopleSoft administration activities that includes patch, fix, and upgrade, while customers focus on more business value-added solutions. Part of our managed services includes advanced monitoring and compliance solutions using Oracle Management Cloud. The last part is extension. So once customers get comfortable with cloud, if they move a PeopleSoft workload to cloud, they have many more options in front of them to take advantage of cloud platform services such as chatbots, integration cloud, analytics, security services, and so on and so forth. So we offer a range of solutions there depending on the customer's need and their appetite for more cloud services. Here are some of the areas that we specialize in. So advisory services for those customers who want to engage us in developing a roadmap, helping them understand their needs and priorities, and crafting a solution that is specifically aligned towards their goals and priorities. Lift and shift, or sometimes also referred to as move and improve. Integration cloud, chatbots, i.e. digital assistants with multiple skills, integrating with multiple applications, PeopleSoft being one of them. Analytics in the cloud, using Oracle Analytics Cloud and Autonomous Data Warehouse. Autonomous transaction processing database. So you've heard a lot about this if you were at Open World or if you've been to any Oracle conference or Quest conference in recent months, you would have certainly heard about autonomous, and that's where everything is trending. Autonomous for database, autonomous for Linux, and so on and so forth. So we are heavily invested in that. Managed services, I spoke about that in the previous slide. And then disaster recovery, I have a use case to talk more in detail about all of this. But we are looking at this as a complete cloud solution. Customers may have one or more categories that they want to look at for cloud, and we have sufficient coverage on all of this, especially when we look at this from the eyes of a PeopleSoft customer. A little bit about our PeopleSoft background and services. So you can think of Astute as a systems integrator for PeopleSoft. We have done implementations, upgrades, lifecycle management services, and so on. These are just some of the things that we are working on today. On the middle right over there with the Oracle Validated Integration logo, that's our automated testing tool called FastTest. I just wanted to call that out. On the bottom left, you see digital assistants and chatbots. Many of you may be aware that there is, PeopleSoft has released some chatbot capability. Oracle's been doing some work there. We have some really good stories there, so I can share that with you as we go along. So digital assistants and chatbots, I'm going to spend a minute here because this seems to be a hot topic for a lot of customers as we continue our conversations with them on cloud. And the idea here is that whether or not you move PeopleSoft to cloud or your database to cloud, digital assistants and chatbots can come in and help you tremendously by reducing call volumes, by developing and pushing out a conversational UI interface, which is what a lot of young people today want. They're mobile natives. They prefer to text rather than go to a website or listen to a video. So these are the reasons why we are investing a lot of time and effort in this. But where we are going with this is we are trying to build industry solutions. So the first bot that we have built is for the education industry. It is aimed at the student community, and now we're tackling other use cases, faculty, athletics, admissions, administrative staff. But we are also developing bots using PeopleSoft technology and Oracle Digital Assistant technologies in the cloud for other use cases such as procurement, employee self-service, absence, and so on. So there's a lot of good information about this on our website, some videos on our YouTube channel. please do check those out. And then I wanted to conclude with this on the overview. I spoke briefly about this in the previous slide when I introduced our cloud offerings. Managed services on cloud is becoming a very important aspect of all of our cloud discussions. And the reason for this is simple. Customers are in various forms struggling with PeopleSoft maintenance, whether they're doing it in-house or whether they're doing it in an outsourced manner with a hosting provider. They want more agility, they want more automation, they want speed, and they want the ability to stay current with minimal disruption. And our model for that is called PeopleSoft Selective Adoption as a Service. It gets customers from wherever they are today to an agile DevOps model. The focus is on modernization. So while we're providing the run maintain services, we are also helping customers look at what's new in the PUM images, what's new in tools releases, take advantage of those by conducting workshops and educating them, helping them decustomize. So some of you may be thinking about moving to SaaS, and a good part of that successful strategy for moving to SaaS is to think about how you can get back to more of a vanilla model in PeopleSoft, and we are helping customers with that. So now let's move to the main topic. Why should we consider moving PeopleSoft to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure? What are the business drivers that are compelling customers to move in that direction? What are the business case decisions, and how do you build a business case to support that? And what are some of the common use cases that are being applied to these PeopleSoft workloads? So let's first talk about business drivers. Hardware refresh. If you're running PeopleSoft in your own data center, every 3 to 5 years, more likely 3 years, you're going to go through some sort of a hardware refresh. And that hardware refresh comes at a cost, not just the cost of hardware, but the cost of stacking and lighting up that new hardware, enabling it, installing and hardening it, and testing everything again, maybe moving PeopleSoft to that new hardware when you have deployed it. All of that is disruptive. It is cost prohibitive in many cases, especially when you think about the manpower, the resources, the amount of planning and lead time that goes into that, and taking into account the change of pace, the speed at which companies like Intel and AMD are delivering new architectures, new chips, and new solutions for storage and compute. It's almost impossible to keep up with all that. So this is a big challenge for customers. The second thing is customers if you talk to line of business stakeholders, they are saying they want more agility. They are not as concerned about what's happening on the infrastructure layer. They're saying my business is demanding that the app does this. The functionality is available. We are a few months behind, in some cases a few years behind, and this is slowing me down. If I ask for a new development instance, it takes me days or weeks to provide one. If I ask for something to be refreshed or cloned, it is not as quick as I want it to be. If I want to check out the latest image of PeopleSoft, I have to wait for days. It should be instantaneous. Everybody wants things fast. So that's a big ask. The third one is security threats. We are continuously bombarded with news from the media about various types of security breaches, from the large ones like Equifax and major retailers to smaller ones. We don't often hear about the ones that happen within an organization. It's important to recognize that oftentimes a security breach can be because of a bad actor within an organization, i.e. an employee. So it's becoming very critical to, it was always important, but in this day and age, it's ever more important to be vigilant and have a secure infrastructure and also be compliant. For those of you who are in healthcare, for those of you who operate in international locations, HIPAA, GDPR, PCI DSS, all of these are important. Obviously, cost is a factor. Everybody wants to try to do more with less. IT budgets are being slashed year on year, regardless of which industry you're in. Everybody wants to take advantage of automation and do the same thing with fewer resources and be more efficient at the same time. So these are the business drivers that are common across every customer, regardless of size, market, industry, and so on and so forth. So what does all this mean? In short, the summary for all this is you have to get out of the data center business. If you're in education, if you're in retail, if you're in healthcare, if you're a nonprofit organization, if you're a financial services institution, you are really being asked to focus on your consumer, your in-house customer, your student community, your global nonprofit audiences that you want to serve, you are not being asked to be experts at setting up and managing data centers. That's the consensus across the board. Various analysts have written about it, from Gartner to IDC, you name it. This is one particular analyst that I follow. He writes a really nice blog as well, so you can take a look at that. So let's talk about, now that we've understood what some of the business drivers are, let's talk about what use cases apply to PeopleSoft if you want to lift and shift that to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure or OCI. One of the easiest solutions to implement is disaster recovery. Now, we see a broad spectrum of solutions out there today in the on-premise world that customers have. Some of you have very well-designed and implemented DR solutions that are also frequently tested. But I'm surprised to note and to share with you that the majority of customers we talk to are not confident in their ability to bring up a disaster recovery site if there was a major event or complete failure of their primary location. If they are able to do that, they're doing that at tremendous cost because they're running a fully mirrored production system in a secondary data center or region, and all of that comes with a big price tag. So what cloud can do for you is set up a very small footprint DR solution with minimal disruption, no production outages, no migration. The cloud instance will connect to your PeopleSoft instance and start replicating data. And it can run in a small footprint, but it can automatically scale up with the help of various cloud automation tools to full capacity so that you can have a secondary site up and running within your performance metrics, whatever you define as your recovery time objective, RTO, or recovery point objective, RPO. Easy to implement. Production and non-production and OCI. A couple of years ago, when we started talking to customers about moving PeopleSoft to OCI, the discussions were largely about dev test on cloud, put a sandbox out there. But what we're finding now is customers are not as interested in that. When they move to cloud, they make the decision. They want to move everything, production, DR, non-production, and get advantages across the board, not just for non-production, but also for production instances. So the majority of projects that we have completed, and we've done over 25 of them for PeopleSoft today, or till date, the majority of them have been such that production, non-production, and DR, all of them moved to OCI. And many of our customers, as part of that migration, have also taken the opportunity to combine the migration with the upgrade to the latest tools and PUM images. In some cases, if they were not on 9.2, we've also done a 9.2 application upgrade as part of that migration to cloud. Now, if you're not ready to put production out on cloud, but you have an upgrade project for which you have to provision new infrastructure, think of cloud as a way to extend your data center capability and just burst into the cloud for the upgrade project. So you may want something for 6 months or 3 months. It's easy to spin up infrastructure, databases, and storage, and use that for your project and terminate that when you no longer need it. So you don't have to buy and hold on to hardware that you may not need after the project is over. The advantage of doing that on cloud is if you use tools like PeopleSoft Cloud Manager, which we highly recommend, if you're doing a tools upgrade, you can take your instance and put it in Cloud Manager and point to that instance and push a button and perform the tools upgrade automatically. Some more use cases. Now, this one is focused on extending your PeopleSoft application with platform services on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Digital assistants and chatbots. Whether PeopleSoft moves to OCI or not, you can start an Oracle Digital Assistant Cloud Platform service, create a bot, connect it to PeopleSoft securely using People Tools and the chatbot integration framework. You can use Integration Cloud or Mobile Cloud Hub as well, and start delivering value instantly. You can plug this chatbot into your website, into a SMS channel, into Facebook, Slack, Twilio. There are a number of integrations out of the box that are available for you to choose from. But this is a great way to get started with cloud platform services. Integration Cloud, we are working with several customers who have various hundreds of point-to-point interfaces within their enterprise integrations solution today, but they don't have a single platform on which they can standardize this. Oracle Integration Cloud is one of the leading products out there in the industry that you should take a look at that can help you standardize integrations. And again, with the future view of moving to SaaS, putting that integration layer in the cloud with OIC and standardizing it will be greatly beneficial and will make that transition to SaaS eventually much easier. Analytics. Customers have been asking for true analytics capability for years, for as long as I can remember. And some of you have implemented OBIEE with OBIA, some pre-built analytics, but most of you have built analytics on your own. Some of you don't have analytics. Some customers have gone with Tableau and Qlik. Oracle Analytics Cloud is definitely worth looking into. We have a canned demo that we can show you of how Oracle Analytics Cloud with Autonomous Data Warehouse connects to a PeopleSoft instance and very easily pulls in data for procurement and starts visualizing that and gives you insights very quickly. You don't have to do the traditional model of implementing custom ETL and custom facts and dimensions, developing star schemas. All that goes away because cloud takes care of doing that for you behind the scenes. So now let's make the business case. You've heard what the business drivers are. You've seen what some of the use cases are. And the way we'd like to help you build a business case is talk about three categories of improvement: cost, performance, and innovation, and then what business is interested in and what IT is interested in. So if you take costs, the main outlook here is reduce or eliminate on-premise infrastructure spend. And it is entirely possible to do this. We have demonstrated hard dollar savings to all of our customers. The case studies have some numbers for you to take back and review. There are some video testimonials that our customers have given. So this is a proven solution for cost savings. And then the trend that we see with cloud infrastructure is a downward trend in terms of infrastructure pricing. It's not going up year on year. The overall trend is to go down. From an IT perspective, they just eliminate that costly cycle of hardware refresh and capacity planning and really go to an on-demand model when they go to cloud. Performance. If you're running something that's on a year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old hardware, think of how your laptop performs after a year or in its second year or third year. It's old, it's bloated, it's slow. That's what happens to all of our enterprise servers as well. With cloud, you don't have to worry about the refresh cycle because the cloud provider is refreshing hardware and putting newer high-performance hardware for you without you having to even worry about it. So you're always working on something that's close to or at the newest specs for CPU speed, for storage, for networking, and so on. So there is a tremendous benefit there. As a result, you should be looking at improving your SLAs. And cloud makes it extremely transparent. You can monitor and measure your performance and report on it. It does not have to be a black box. For the IT staff, it's the ability to move on to the next-gen platform. The IT resources supporting that can be excited because now they can get their hands on some technology that they have not seen in their on-premise environment, and they can start working on some true scale-up, scale-down services based on your business need. The innovation aspect is important. Obviously, we spoke about agility. So now if you use tools like Cloud Manager, like Database Cloud Service, like Key Management Service, like the File Storage Service, all of these things make running PeopleSoft on cloud very easy. And in effect, it speeds up your time to deploy, your time to refresh, your time to create a new PUM image instance, your time to patch, and monitoring is also automated. And for IT, it's less manual time spent doing these tasks and more time spent in monitoring and managing the environment, which makes it better for everybody. So here, now that you've heard that, let's talk about how some of customers have taken advantage of that and delivered successful results. So this is from Open World 2019, and we are going to show you 4 customers who were awarded either a PeopleSoft Innovator Award or an Oracle Cloud Platform Innovation Award for their successful migration of PeopleSoft applications to cloud. So Gallaudet University, over 600K reduction in TCO, 50% improvement in batch performance, all documented and proven. They were awarded the Cloud Platform Innovation Award, PeopleSoft Innovator Award, and I have a detailed case study on this customer coming up later, so I'll share that with you. Chaucer was a spin-off of Hanover Insurance in the US. as part of the divestiture, we had to move them to cloud on time, on budget, overall TCO reduction, and an increase in ROI. Performance and OCI was equal or better to on-prem Exadata. So the OCI solution was not Exadata based. We just had to do a little bit of tweaking and to get them to that level, but they were able to spend a lot less as a result because they didn't have to have an expensive solution like Exadata in the cloud. Care.org, a global nonprofit. This is an excellent example of a customer that did not just do a lift and shift as is, but they did a major application upgrade. They moved from 9.1 to 9.2 as part of their journey to cloud. 50% reduction in total upgrade costs, also a PeopleSoft Innovator Award winner. And then Virens, also known as VVC Holding. This is a spinoff of GE Healthcare, and they achieved 45% lower TCO than on-prem, and they also compared that with their quotes before they pulled the trigger on OCI. They compared it with other cloud providers. So with that, let's look at how we can move forward. So now we've spoken about business drivers, use cases, how to build the business case internally, how some customers have taken advantage of OCI. Let's do a brief comparison of why OCI, why not AWS or Azure. These are things that you can even get from Oracle. There's some white papers written on this. There are some analysts who are blogging about all of these things as well. There were some good articles coming out of Open World from those discussions. But what I want to share with you is, if you're thinking about Oracle as being this big, expensive company that always is going to charge you more, think again, because cloud has been a level playing field for all cloud providers. The first thing you would notice is cloud pricing is transparent. Every cloud provider, Oracle included, lists their pricing and discounts on their public website. So you are going to see get what you see, and you are going to be able to take advantage of that. So these are actual numbers. They are updated quite frequently, and you will see just based on the first column how it compares very favorably, which many customers are surprised when we show this model to them, that Oracle actually is very cost competitive. When it comes to performance, this is from Storage Review, and there's a link at the bottom. Oracle really excels in database performance and database and performance with block storage and object storage, depending on what the solution is. But speed is really quite unbeatable when you compare what Oracle can do. And keep in mind, for some of you that may be running some advanced Oracle database configurations like RAC or Exadata on-prem, there is no equivalent solution for that in any other cloud provider except for OCI. And then here's some things that matter for PeopleSoft, right? So what you want to look at is the infrastructure comparison is great, the database performance comparison is great. I know I can get some cost advantages, but at the end of the day, I want to look at moving my entire stack for PeopleSoft, app tier, web tier, and so on, to cloud. So what do I get out of that? Provisioning is automated, database provisioning, automation and patching, application upgrades, a tools upgrade right now, and tools patching is a one-click process, which is phenomenal. It saves you some time because some of you are running 10, 20. I know a large healthcare customer that has, across 4 PeopleSoft application pillars, roughly 70 instances that they're running. Now imagine the complexity of that tools upgrade process. So there are all of these factors that you can take into consideration when you make a decision on which cloud to select. And then lastly, why is Oracle Cloud Infrastructure so important to run PeopleSoft? Oracle Cloud Infrastructure has solutions that have been specifically designed for Oracle ERP. This is not just applicable to PeopleSoft, but PeopleSoft, EBS, JDE, and so on. Speed of deployment, so you can really templatize this, build some configurations, and start pushing buttons, and within a matter of minutes or hours, you could have a full instance of PeopleSoft up and running. Upgrade automation, we spoke about that. Of cost reduction, of course, I showed you some examples of how OCI compares favorably with Azure or AWS. Higher performance, a lot of our customers have come out openly and said, yes, we see a significant performance increase without doing any tuning, just a lift and shift, because now you get to run on a stack of hardware that's updated and current. And then security. Many customers that we talk to today, although it's not difficult to implement, do not have TDE, transparent database encryption, implemented in their databases. They don't have all the adequate security controls for file encryption in their VMs, in their storage layer, and so on and so forth. So cloud enables a lot of these things by default, and we can start off with a much higher level of security than you would with on-premise. The bottom line is Oracle Cloud Infrastructure is purpose-built for PeopleSoft. A little bit about PeopleSoft Cloud Manager. There are some excellent presentations by the PeopleSoft product strategy team, Dave Bain, Mark Horneman, and those folks. And there are some good resources in their YouTube videos in the PeopleSoft channel on YouTube. But this is an excellent tool that will help you not only with the lift and shift of your PeopleSoft instance to OCI, but more importantly, the lifecycle management. Managing instances, patching them, refreshing them, cloning them, starting and stopping them. All of those can be done through a fluid UI interface online, and it's free for those customers who are current license and maintenance paying customers. Some comparisons that we got from Oracle for how Oracle Cloud Infrastructure compares with other IaaS platforms, and really the focus is here on Cloud Manager, RAC, XSES, and so on. So let's move on to some customer success stories. And I want to focus on two customers here today, care.org and Gallaudet University. The first one is care.org. Care is a global nonprofit headquartered in Atlanta. They were in a hosted solution. They were not extremely happy with that when it came to performance and SLAs and responsiveness. And they were looking for a better solution. So we went in and proposed a Oracle Cloud Infrastructure-based solution, which they liked. And at the same time, they also wanted to upgrade to the latest version. So they were on PeopleSoft FSCM 9.1. We did a technical upgrade to 9.2 and combined that with the migration to cloud, and we completed that project in 6 months. Great success story, a very large database, about more than 5 terabytes of production database capacity, single global instance accessed in more than 90 countries worldwide. So it's a true 24/7 operation. The system's always on, always accessed, over 2,000 users globally that have hit the system from Asia, from Europe, from North America, South America, and so on and so forth. And the business value here is they're a global nonprofit. They wanted to focus on their core mission, which is go out and help the poor, provide programs that help them support women's rights and so on. They're really not in the data center business. They didn't want to be managing infrastructure. So great story. There's a video on oracle.com that features Care and their success story as well. So please take a look at that. Here's just a very quick overview of how we got them to cloud, right? Simple three-step design, three-step approach. Plan and design. Planning is extremely important when you move to cloud. Understand what you're getting into, understand what the dependencies are, how complex your integration scenario is going to be, how large your database is. Customizations really don't matter because when you migrate PeopleSoft, all the metadata for your customizations come along with the database move. Everything that's in your batch server, in your PS home folder also comes along with it. But security and integration and performance, networking, these are all important. So a lot of upfront planning, design workshops, conducting them and getting the customer comfortable with the future state solution, that's a big part of the first step. And then starting the migration. So in this case, it is a migration plus an upgrade, doing multiple cycles of that, setting up the networking and connectivity for all the integration points to work, going through multiple test cycles, performing test moves, all the things that we would do as part of a standard upgrade, and then finally going live with OCI. Gallaudet University, more than 150 years old. Gallaudet, for those of you who are not familiar with them, is the institution that defines and maintains the standards for American Sign Language, and their charter is to specifically help the hearing disabled or deaf community so that they can have a good education and a good career path. So PeopleSoft HR, Finance, and Campus Solutions, all three applications moving to cloud in a matter of 6 months. HR and Finance are already live, very successful, significant cost savings projected over 3 to 5 years. improvement in performance, automation with Cloud Manager and Oracle Database Cloud Service, Oracle Management Cloud for monitoring. Again, taking them away from the data center business and helping them focus on what matters, which is improving student outcomes and focusing on their core mission. That is what we were able to deliver. A little bit about how, when you have multiple PeopleSoft applications, how you can structure a phased implementation approach. It's not necessary that you have to do it this way. You can still do a big bang. Doing a phased approach eases you into cloud, gives you a step-by-step solution, and you build more assurance and confidence with every step. We started with HCM and financials because both of them were already on 9.2 when they were on-prem. We focused on moving them. In parallel, we started the Campus Solutions upgrade because that was going to take a little longer. Went live first with HCM 9.2. After 4 weeks, we went live with FSCM 9.2. As we went live with these applications, we transitioned the customer to our managed service model. So now they had measurable SLAs, complete transparency. They could log tickets. They could see what was happening in the system through the monitoring tools that we had. And all of the services that they were requiring out of a managed service provider, we were able to come in and meet that. They're scheduled to go live with their Campus Solutions upgrade in early 2020. So now let's spend a few minutes talking about how you can get started, and then we'll leave the last 10 minutes for Q&A. It's important to understand what your roadmap to cloud should look like. And this is going to be unique for each and every one of you. There may be some similarities, of course. You can adopt from lessons learned, talk to other customers, but at the end of the day, you have to look at what you have in-house, what the integrations are, what the dependencies are, what your overall organization's cloud leaning is, and then you have to build a roadmap. And we have done this for many customers. We've helped them design such roadmaps. We've come in with our advisory services and conducted some assessment workshops, helped the customer put those requirements together, define their priorities, and then sequence that for them so that they know how to move and what moves first and so on and so forth. One thing is very clear from all of our experiences is that customers are going to be in some form of hybrid cloud forever, for the foreseeable future. Let me say it that way instead of saying forever. And the reason I say that is if you move PeopleSoft to cloud, that's great. We would love for you to do that. But that doesn't mean the other 150 applications that you have in your data center or in other environments are also going to move to cloud. It is entirely possible that some of them may move directly to SaaS. It is also possible that some of your legacy applications may never move to cloud. And for various business reasons, there may be some back office applications that you don't want to move anywhere. But PeopleSoft is an excellent candidate for all the reasons that we've discussed today. But the way to do that is spend a good amount of time preparing and understanding what you're getting into. Make sure you are getting the benefits of automation and cost, at least on paper upfront, and then a good way to measure that as you start deploying these workloads on cloud. And then once you move that, stabilize that, move it into a managed service model, focus more on your business customers and what they've been asking you to provide. Hey, I want new features. I want more workflow. I want more automation. I want better reporting. I want chatbots, whatever their needs are, so that you can start meeting them. So that's an example. And then here are some migration considerations. I spoke about planning. A phased approach helps you de-risk the project, especially if you have multiple PeopleSoft applications. Within a PeopleSoft application pillar like financials and supply chain, it makes a lot of sense to move production, non-production, and DR as one project. We have done many of these. There's a proven solution there, and it can be done without a lot of risk. So we come now to our Q&A section. This is something that we love because customers have a lot of questions. Some of you may already know a lot about Oracle Cloud Infrastructure and moving PeopleSoft, but many of you are new to this. So feel free to ask us as many questions as you have, and we'll do our best to answer all of them today. The ones that we cannot get to, we promise you we'll take them down and write up a detailed FAQ and share it with all the participants who are on the webinar today. So Valerie, do we have any questions?
We do. We have some coming in. So the first question is it recommended to migrate PeopleSoft running on SQL Server? If yes, what are the pros and cons?
So one of the very first migrations that we did for PeopleSoft to OCI was for a SQL Server customer, and that customer is Easy Corp. They're in Austin, Texas. So their cloud strategy was based not just on moving PeopleSoft, but moving many other workloads to cloud, and they chose Oracle Cloud Infrastructure as their provider. They did evaluate AWS and Azure, but when they looked at the sum total of their migration requirements, they found that OCI was a better fit. Now, as far as running SQL Server on OCI, it is fully supported. We have done multiple projects after Easy Corp. Coppin State University is another example. So there is no constraint or restriction that will prevent you from running SQL Server on cloud infrastructure on Oracle. So it can be done. In today's version of PeopleSoft Cloud Manager, the automated deployment and one-click People Tools upgrade is not supported for SQL Server databases. That is the only drawback that I see, but we have ways to accommodate that and provide additional services as part of our managed service offering when we migrate a PeopleSoft SQL Server customer to cloud. But other than that, it works exactly the same. If you have an Oracle database, you bring your Oracle database license to cloud. If you have a SQL Server database, you bring your SQL Server database to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, fully supported.
The next question is, please address having a lot of PeopleSoft customizations and being on OCI.
That's a great question, and we get asked this question very often. So it's important to understand that everything we've spoken about today is about cloud infrastructure and platform services. That means that everything that you have today in your PeopleSoft system, regardless of the level of customization or bolt-on or integration, you can bring all of them to cloud as is without changing anything and just run it on cloud infrastructure at a lower cost in a more secure environment. Now, if you are considering moving to software as a service, such as Oracle HCM Cloud or Oracle ERP Cloud or Workday or Salesforce, what have you, obviously, when you move to software as a service, there is a big limitation on customizing that software. You can build platform-based extensions, but you cannot customize the SaaS software itself. But what we're focusing on today is running PeopleSoft, taking it from where it's running today in your data center, for example, and moving it to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure and still running PeopleSoft the same way. You can still access People Tools, you can still have DB links, you can still have all of your SQRs running, COBOLs running, you can have flat file interfaces. Whatever you do today, you don't have to change it. Now, if you're looking to improve certain aspects of PeopleSoft while you move to cloud, we can certainly talk to you about that. But there are no restrictions on your customizations. Simply put, all of your customizations will move to cloud as is, and you will continue using them. And you can decide how you want to decustomize or do something with that when you're ready for it.
The next question we have is related to performance. Have your customers experienced any improvement in performance of Envision report processing?
Well, the two examples I gave you were for care.org and Gallaudet University. Gallaudet actually has indeed experienced better performance for Envision. Now, Envision performance is not always just related to the underlying hardware. You can do a good amount of tuning and apply some best practices to the way Envision reports and layouts are set up. So if that is your problem, we can definitely address that. We have done several tuning projects for Envision for large and small customers. But because cloud infrastructure gives you the latest underlying hardware on top of which you would deploy your PeopleSoft instances, including your Windows NT server for Envision and so on, you should expect some performance improvements there. But if the problem is with setup or code, we can help you address that as part of the move to cloud.
The next question is, can you expand more on comparing costs, especially with AWS or Azure, and how Oracle could save more costs?
Definitely. So this has to be a subjective conversation because the cost savings really have to be tailored to a customer's size and complexity, number of applications, number of instances, how many Oracle database licenses you have, and so on and so forth. So We do that as part of an OCI workshop, and one of the poll questions that you might have received in the second poll was whether you're interested in doing that one-on-one evaluation. We have some standard estimators, and Oracle Cloud has a estimator tool as well. So we employ all of these solutions, and we plug your numbers in, and we show you what the estimates would be, and you can do the same thing with AWS to get a comparison if you'd like. But it has to be specific to your environment. We have done this for many of our customers to help them make the decision on why OCI is better suited for PeopleSoft.
Okay, so the next question is, how are customizations handled?
This would be similar to the previous question that we had. So all of your existing customizations, so if you think of customizations in PeopleSoft, there are two major categories. One is that you have online in the PeopleSoft application, and they're all built on PeopleTools. So the metadata for your customizations, whether you've modified a delivered PeopleSoft object or whether you've added net new objects to PeopleSoft, they're all stored inside of your PeopleSoft database within PeopleTools tables as metadata configurations. When we move your database to cloud, all of your customization data for the online customizations comes along with the database unchanged, and we have ways of verifying the before and after to ensure that nothing's lost in the migration. And then you have your offline customizations, your batch reports. You might have modified SQRs, COBOL programs. Some of you may still be running Crystal reports, although that's no longer supported in the newer tools releases. So those customizations also move to cloud as is without any changes. We just have to run them once to validate that everything's working, but we are not introducing code change. We are not asking you to let go or reduce your customizations or decustomize as part of that migration to cloud.
How do you move to the cloud in pieces? Is that possible? For example, what's a recommendation? Would you go GL before AP? Question mark.
The recommendation is always to keep everything as an integral solution within the PeopleSoft stack. So if you're running PeopleSoft Financials and Supply Chain with 3 or 5 or in some cases 19 or 20 modules, you would move that entire application pillar as part of the solution to OCI. You would not break that up and say, let me just move my financials modules over and then bring my procurement modules and then my supply chain modules. That would be a nightmare. So you move the entire application pillar as is to cloud. But if you have multiple PeopleSoft applications, let's just take a simple example. You have financials and supply chain on 9.2 and HCM, human capital management, on 9.2. You can now decide to move human capital management first, set it up on cloud, secure it, stabilize it, get a better understanding of how that works, and then use all the lessons learned to apply that to your financials migration and find ways to optimize that internally and take better advantage of the delivered cloud capabilities that you have. So that's the reason why I gave you the example of Gallaudet's phased approach. HCM followed by financials, followed by campus. And we put campus in the end because that required a 9.0 to 9.2 upgrade, whereas financials and HCM were moving as is. So it really depends on your particular scenario, but within an application, keep everything together, all the modules in one application pillar move as a set, but among different application pillars, you have the ability to either do a big bang or sequence those depending on your ability to handle that change and what other priorities you may have at any given point in time in your organization.
Thank you. The next question is, are there monthly fees once you're in the cloud and are not using managed services? This particular person is using Financials 9.2. What's the approximate monthly cost?
Okay, so broadly speaking, there are 3 sets of fees that you will encounter when you think about a cloud solution for PeopleSoft. The first one is you will purchase cloud infrastructure credits. In Oracle's terminology, that's called universal credits. And that is, think of it as a prepaid credit card. Money is loaded onto it, and you can use that to spin up infrastructure services, virtual machines, storage, networking, database services, monitoring services, whatever is part of your design and your bill of materials for that PeopleSoft solution. So that's one aspect, cloud infrastructure credits. Those are all subscription-based services. They have an hourly rate. They have a monthly fixed rate depending on your length of commitment, and there are certain standard discounts that apply. And we help customers put all that together by going through a sizing exercise and helping them understand to run PeopleSoft financials, production and non-production, what they will pay on an annualized basis. The second fee is a one-time migration fee for that lift and shift, and that includes moving the application, integrating it to all the other interfaces, securing the application, testing it, and then going live. The third aspect of it is the managed service. So when you go live, you need somebody to run and maintain the infrastructure, the database component, and the PeopleSoft administrative tasks. And then if you want additional services on top of that, functional support, technical support, they're all available. That also comes at a monthly fixed fee. Typically, our customers sign up for a 3-year contract for managed services, and we will quote you a fee based on the number of modules, the number of users, the number of time zones that you are requiring support, and then so on and so forth. But we have various categories of fixed fees that we can share with you depending on your need.
I heard the Cloud Manager has some limitations to carrying forward things like domain, site names, which are currently used by various applications and links in our portal application. Is there a way to maintain domain definitions, or does this need to be done post-migration?
That's an interesting question. So Cloud Manager is really focused on deploying and managing PeopleSoft and focusing on the PeopleSoft lifecycle management. But before we get to Cloud Manager, if you can look back at the slide where I was presenting a simple 3-step approach, step 1 is laying the cloud foundation, which is when we make some of these important decisions. But what happens to your current domain, your current URL for PeopleSoft? Do we need to change it? Can we just repoint that through DNS and so on and so forth? If you go to the Oracle Cloud YouTube channel and you find the EasyCorp video, you will hear the director of EasyCorp talking about how their business users did not even know that the application had moved to cloud, because we took an outage on Friday evening, we were live by Sunday night. Monday morning, the users came in and they hit the same URL that they were hitting in their on-premise system. It was just repointed to a cloud environment. So you can actually make it as seamless as that if you'd like to. We can also set up cloud to be a complete extension of your on-premise private network, which means that we can, again, employ a host of cloud networking technologies and automation to make that move very seamless. And there's a lot of details that go into that, but this is just a very high-level summary. Happy to engage with you one-on-one and dig deeper into that.
What if we have integration changes or file feed changes? How is that handled?
Integration is an important topic. Of course, PeopleSoft is a heavily integrated application, both integrations between PeopleSoft applications, like between Finance and HCM, between HCM and Campus, Portal and other applications, but also PeopleSoft to external third-party applications that may be outside your network, and then other applications that are inside your network. So where we start with when we do these design workshops, we quickly build a full inventory of all of your integrations, and we start classifying them. And then we discuss with you what integration points need to move, what file locations. For example, many of you have a common SFTP file share location where files are dropped and picked up by PeopleSoft, by other vendors, and so on and so forth. Does that need to move to cloud? It can. But if it's being used for PeopleSoft and 10 other applications, it may not need to move to cloud, because cloud can still read and write from an on-premise location, and we can figure out latency and networking and security and all of that for you. But we've had examples where customers have moved all of that to cloud. Other customers have said, no, PeopleSoft is just one of many applications. We won't move all of our integration staging areas. But when you look at a PeopleSoft interface, there are 2 endpoints. One endpoint is PeopleSoft, the other is the third-party application or internal application. Essentially, what you're doing is you're just moving the PeopleSoft endpoint from your on-premise location to the cloud location. So that's the only aspect of that interface that's going to change. The underlying interface program, whether it's SQR or App Engine or Integration Broker, a web service, none of those things are going to change. It's that endpoint. In some cases, it may be a REST endpoint URL. In other cases, it may be an IP address or a host name That's all that's going to change. So we just have to accommodate that particular change for integration. Obviously, we have to test it, so we place a lot of emphasis on testing. But other than that, integrations are, believe it or not, quite simple when you move to cloud.
Can you please tell them what EBS, the acronym stands for that's in the slides?
Yes, EBS stands for Oracle E-Business Suite, which is an ERP application package just like PeopleSoft, and it has human capital management, financial, supply chain, and so on and so forth.
So we're at the top of the hour, Arvind. We've got about 6 or 7 more questions. Do you want to go ahead and go through those, or how would you like to?
I would love to, Val. I think this is exciting that we have so many questions. Obviously, the audience is very engaged and they are interested in this topic. So let's take 5 more minutes and try and wrap up these questions. And if there are additional questions, all of you can contact us online, info@beastute.com. Our website is www.beastute.com. And there's a phone number there too if you want to call us if you don't like email or website. But let's go through the remaining questions quickly and see if we can answer them right away.
Okay. Would OCI be as transparent as on-premise? Can our developer be able to connect to DB just the way they do for our on-prem instance?
Absolutely. If you want your developer to have direct SQL access to a development database through SQL Developer or a tool like Toad or anything else that you use, you can enable that, you can secure it, and you can apply your security permissions to that connection. You are in complete control. There are no restrictions. If you want to have database links, you can do that. If you want to have app designer access in 2-tier mode, you can provide that. You want data mover access, you can have, nothing changes. The way you operate PeopleSoft does not change, except that now you take advantage of automation capabilities that you otherwise would not have in your on-premise environment.
How are changes and customizations migrated?
So there are multiple scenarios here. Let's assume that you are doing what Gallaudet University did or care.org did, and now you're running production and non-production all on OCI. Your customizations would be built on those instances in OCI, and you would migrate them from dev to test and test to QA, just like you did that on-prem. Some of our customers have migration tools like QuestStat or Fire, and those PeopleSoft change control tools have also moved to OCI as part of the migration. So you can employ those tools, and they're fully supported on OCI as well. If you're doing manual project file-based migrations, you will have access to do that, or your managed service provider like Astute can do that on your behalf, and you would just log a request and say, here's what I would like to migrate, and the migration would be conducted on your behalf with all the pre and post checks for you. But again, everything that you do on-prem with migrations can be made available exactly the same way on OCI. It does not have to change unless you want to change it and improve it.
If they are already running Oracle Cloud for CRM, will the lift and shift run on the same cloud, and what are the licensing implications?
There are a couple of answers to that. If you're referring to Oracle Cloud CRM as a SaaS solution, then all Oracle SaaS services such as Service Cloud, CX Cloud, HCM Cloud, ERP Cloud, the EPM Cloud, they all run on Oracle Cloud infrastructure. So the same underlying infrastructure that we're talking about that we would like to move your PeopleSoft applications to. So you are at an advantageous position if you are already running Oracle CRM Cloud, which is a SaaS application, but it's powered by Oracle IaaS and PaaS, as an infrastructure as a service and platform as a service solutions. And PeopleSoft can run on the same infrastructure and platform service, and you can use a variety of methods to integrate these applications. You can use Oracle Integration Cloud, which has a pre-built adapter to Oracle CRM Cloud, or you could just build a PeopleSoft integration broker-based REST interface and then connect the two applications.
We have just a couple more questions. Once you're in the cloud, can you continue to customize PeopleSoft?
Yes. No change to the way you customize PeopleSoft. Everything remains the same. You have complete access to Application Designer, People Tools, and you control your environment. No restrictions.
Okay, so this is an interesting question. Just for the comfort of customers, is there a lift and out cloud option for exiting from OCI to an on-premise also?
Excellent question. I think every customer should have that option in their back pocket. Should things not work out for a number of reasons, or should your business take you in a different direction where you may no longer be using PeopleSoft or you're merging with another entity. And this happened to one of my customers. They had PeopleSoft in one business entity, e-business suite in another, and they moved it to cloud, but now PeopleSoft is merging into EBS, and that's becoming their corporate solution. So Oracle Cloud Infrastructure does not restrict you from taking your data out. There's nothing contractually that will hold you back from doing that. It makes it easier for you because data ingress, as in moving data into cloud, is free 100% of the time. Data egress is also free up to 10 terabytes a month. Whereas if you look at AWS or Azure, they charge you a lot of money both for ingress and egress, i.e. data going into their cloud and data coming out of the cloud. So Oracle has a big advantage in that regard. Valerie, do we have any more questions? If not, let's thank the audience.
I apologize.
Okay.
Yes. How are they migrating from dev test to production?
Again, it would be the same as you do it today. If you have a change control tool such as Fire or Stat or any other tool that you may be using for migrating projects from dev to test up onwards all the way into production, you would use the same. If you're using application data sets, for example, for your configuration tables to migrate those, you can still use those. You are not giving up that level of control unless you want the managed service provider to take that responsibility and do that on your behalf, but you're still directing the course of action and it's being done on your behalf. So moving to cloud does not mean relinquishing any controls. You decide how much control you want to have, how much security you want to apply. Many of our larger customers have specific security directives from their chief security officer's office coming to us, and they want to apply certain security policies before we start deploying cloud. So all of that is in the realm of the possible, I should say. So you have complete control over your cloud environment, including root level access into all of your VMs, into your database. Nothing's hidden. You can pretty much do everything that you do on-prem.
That wraps up our questions, Arvind.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Valerie, and big thank you to the audience for getting on the webinar, taking time out of your busy schedules, and being so engaging in asking us so many questions. I love the Q&A. We'll document all of this and send it back to you or post it online for you to review. But if any of you would like to reach out to us and have us do some one-on-one sessions with you, help you build a roadmap or define what your cloud solution may look like, feel free to ask. We have a lot of experience in this. We have a lot of customer success stories we'd like to share with you. And if we are at a conference coming to a city or state near you, we look forward to meeting you at one of these events also in person. Thank you again and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.